Okay. Testing, 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 testing. Okay, I think we're good now. I think we're good. I'm gonna have to change all that later in post as the in post as the film people would say. Okay. I'm gonna do this just to make sure my audio sounds good. I don't know if I'm gonna use headphones for every live, but at this point, I just need to make sure for myself. Okay, I can hear that. I can hear that. We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay, let me move my phone over so I can get a better angle of y'all over here on TikTok. Okay. So, and then I think this should still be good. I may be projecting, so we should be fine. But is the audio still, I guess it's still working. I guess it's still working. If y'all are if anyone is over, I can't even message nobody right now. If anybody is over on Telegram, let's see. I'm gonna share my stream to Telegram, copy the link, and I'm gonna see if someone can come over. If y'all are listening and you want to come over to YouTube and check it out, then I would greatly appreciate that. I just want to make sure that before I start going in that I'm actually people can actually hear me. So let's see. I'm live on YouTube. Uh, for anyone that wants to listen in, I would love for someone to let me know that my audio is working um on YouTube. Okay. Mm, there we go. All right. So now it's posted in there. But if I don't get anybody to come in, I am going to start. I am going to start talking. Okay, y'all. So welcome in. Welcome, 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 welcome. I am, if y'all are coming in from TikTok, you probably saw my video where I was talking about how I should have more than 600 followers. I should have more than 600 subscribers. Um, these are my confessions. These are my creator confessions. I know I should have more than 600 subscribers. And for a long time, I've tried to understand what it is that I need to do in order to, hey, Palm, how was my audio? Can you let me know? I've been trying my best to, I've been trying my best to understand. Hold on, let me backtrack for a second. I have not been doing my best. Okay. I've not been doing my best when it comes to YouTube. I'm over here. I made it over here, Kuma. I have not been doing my best, y'all. And I had to be honest about that because I am someone who encourages people when they don't have, hundreds of thousands of subscribers or they don't have as many followers on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. I always encourage people that you don't need huge numbers in order to, have a business, have a brand, to get brand deals, to grow. Like you don't need to have those big numbers, right? However, however, the fact that I was able when I honed in on TikTok and I really focused on just TikTok when I first was growing over on this platform. I made it my primary focus. You know what I'm saying? Like I was not back and forth. I was not double minded. Okay. I gave it, it was my my priority. when it came to making content. And because I honed in and I gave it the time that it needed for me to understand it, thank you. I gave it the time that I needed to understand it. I developed a community. I started engaging with people. Like I focused on one platform and I was able to grow when I did that. When I decided, okay, I'm going to focus and I'm going to make this where I give my most effort to growing. Now, the thing about it though is that I never took that energy to any other platform. I saw that it worked when I did it on TikTok, and then I just stayed there. And so every now and then, I dip my toe into the Instagram waters, or I'll dip my toe into the YouTube waters, or I'll go into like Threads right now has been really like I've just been really feeling Threads lately. And so I'll dibble and dabble in things, but it was like always going back to where I was comfortable, like going back to my comfort zone because I've already built over here. And so whenever it came to making it a priority, I always had a reason why I couldn't focus on another platform. Oh, everybody that I know is over here. No one's going to want to leave TikTok to go nowhere else. Or I've spent so much time, I invest so much time here, and I got this thing that I'm launching, this thing that I'm putting out, so I can't build from scratch anywhere else, or I can't not show up there, right? And so I was having a hard time with balancing where I already had established a community and coupling that with where I want to go and grow. And so that was a really big challenge for me. And so I want to say 2 days ago, I decided, okay, like I got to stop making excuses for why I'm not growing in these other places. And so that was when I went to I went to my whiteboard. Like I don't know if anybody else is like me where you love a good whiteboard, like being able to just write on a big board, or even like a small board. I love like big poster board. I like to just have a bunch of space to just put stuff down. Especially, I think it's part of the reason why I like it so much is because you don't have the lines to worry about. Like I'm not worried about the lines on the paper or it not being enough space to get my ideas out. But I love being able to write. I see you do too, Andrea. Like I just love a good board. And so I went to my whiteboard and I started writing out like what is my goal? What am I trying to accomplish this month? Because I knew that if I could attach what I'm trying to do to what I currently already do consistently, like the whole idea of like habit stacking, I knew that I could make this work. I can make it happen. So that's what I decided to do. So I started writing one thing. I started writing one goal. Well, my biggest goal was to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I cannot go into next year and not have put in a real effort to meet that goal. Another thing that I wanted to be able to do is I wanted to be able to have another platform where where I had a presence and where I had a healthy presence. Like I want people to see all of my platforms and for there to be consistency in numbers, in terms of how many people are following me or subscribing, in terms of like the views on my content, in terms of engagement. I want to be able to have multiple options for touch points and being able to communicate with people. And then obviously with everything that's going on with TikTok and us not knowing where things are going to fall when it comes to January, because there's been some talk, and she might not be here after January. So I really don't want to get caught up. Like I have to remind myself, no, I can't just stay here and get comfortable here. And plus, y'all, like if you really want to know what's tea, okay, you really want to know what's tea when it comes to having another platform. hey Monica, have another platform, is that I want to be able to not have to create so much content. Like that would be so ideal for me because the whole like what hamster wheel of content creation, it can be you can be one of the hardest working people, the most you can have the most content putting out there, but there gets to a point where it doesn't all add up. Like the effort's not matching what I'm getting back. And I love the idea of being able to have my content working for me and not be the one working for my content. I just don't believe that that is the way that I was supposed to live my life. That does not feel like freedom. That does not feel like I'm being my most creative self. It doesn't feel good. And so I'm seeing how creators like YC Imaging. Y'all follow him? YC Imaging. He's really big on YouTube. And I'm seeing how like Homeboy can put out a video a week and he's straight. Like his videos get hundreds of thousands of views. They're very good quality. Like their videos, you literally want to watch more than once. Like you can get so much from watching that content. And I love the idea of being able to have that kind of freedom when it comes to creating, because the type of platform that I'm trying to build, the way that I want to the way that I want to monetize, the way that I'm building my brand so that it doesn't rely on me just being the only person that is I don't want all of the revenue to be tied to me showing up. And so if that's what I want to do, if that's what I'm trying to set up, then it doesn't make sense for me to follow a formula where it would require me to always be online, to always show up on here. I want to be able to not be here. I want to spend some time in real life. I don't want to always be on the internet. And so this is my way of making a plan to make that transition. Okay. Hey Kayla, you wait, what do you do on the computer? So that's where my head is at with this. So that's my confession, y'all. Those are my confessions. I am I feel like I'm saying the stuff that people be thinking because I just can't make excuses for it. I just can't act like it don't bother me. Like when I look at my analytics and when I open up that YouTube Studio app and I see 600, I think right now I'm like at 632. The fact that I know the number is like I've been here way too long and it is really pissing me off. Yeah, oh, it's yeah. Mhm. I see what you're saying, Kuma. Yeah, it makes me angry. And you want to know what really did it for me, y'all? One day my son Kyrie, he looked at my phone. Just a small caveat. Um my son is a YouTuber. So he has a YouTube channel and he started his YouTube channel back in November, last November. And he has grown his channel to 600 subscribers since he started in November. I don't even want to get into how long I've had a YouTube channel. I don't even I don't even want to get into that. Like I don't want to talk about how long I've had a YouTube channel, but that to me, I'm proud of him. Okay, I'm so proud of him. I told him I want him to get to 1,000 so that he can get monetized, so that he can have some money coming in for himself. Okay, but when he looked at my page, he was like, "Why do you only have 600 subscribers?" And I was like, "That's a good question, Kyrie." I don't I don't have a good answer for you. I don't have a good reason why. I only have 600 subscribers. But that to me was like a moment where it was like, okay, let's let's be for real. Let's be for real. It was definitely unintentional shade. He was just genuinely asking because in his head, I'm famous and I should just have so many people following me. And so he's seen my TikTok, and so he knows how many people subscribe and how many people follow me on TikTok. And so I think in his head, he's like, you are a content creator. You should have thousands of followers everywhere, right? And I think that was a moment where, I agree. I should have more. And so if that's what I know I'm capable of, then what does it look like to make that a priority? What does it look like to make that something that I aim for and I am intentional with how I do it, and I'm also bringing the discipline that I have shown in other areas to this, because although the circumstances are different, I'm in a different place, personally, business wise, but just the fact that I know that all it takes is for me to focus on it, make it a priority, and then to work for it. Hey Tashi, then that's all that I need to do. That's what I need to do here. And so the biggest thing, y'all, the biggest thing, overarching thing is that I I want to stop treating this platform. I want to stop treating YouTube. I want to stop treating social media like it's this huge intimidating thing. And I was able to conquer that when it came to TikTok to a certain extent. There's still like some caps that I feel like I'm experiencing when it comes to TikTok, but I felt like this was one of those places where it was confirmed that I'm good at what I do. I know what I'm doing. I make great content. And if I am capable of doing it here, I can do this on any other platform. The problem is not that I can't do it. I just have to learn that platform, give it the time that it needs in order to grow. And I have to move at a different pace. It doesn't mean I'm gonna be able to do it across every platform. I might have to move a little bit slower, but I just know that this whole idea of being intimidated by a platform is whack. Like, it's whack. I can do it here. I should be able to do it anywhere. So yeah, that's that's my confession. That's my confession. So I just want to know how many other people are tired of being intimidated by platforms. You're tired of being intimidated by the idea of creating content. You're tired of being intimidated by things that you know that if you were intentional and you created a plan, you created a strategy, whatever it is that you needed, but that if you really honed in on it and focused, you could grow. You could grow. Yeah. Mm. Yep. I'm I'm definitely tired. I'm tired. I'm not sick, but I'm tired, okay? I'm over it. And I know if I can give it this push, I just know that I can do this for everybody else. Yeah, Monica, I'm going to email you after this, and then we can set up another one, because I forgot to reach out to you earlier this week. So yeah, I know that if I can figure out this strategy, y'all, if I can make this work for me, then I can help other people do it too, because that's the goal. Like, I'm just not trying to be out here hustling and grinding on the content train. I'm ready to get off. I'm ready to get off. So yeah, that's my confession. So before I go into the next segment, because I watched Pharrell's Lego movie piece by piece, and I have some thoughts on it. First of all, before I talk about the next thing, if you are a creative person, if you're a creative entrepreneur, an artist, a creator in any way, you need to watch piece by piece. Okay. Like, and I'm not joking. I'm not being paid to talk about this. I just watched the movie myself over the weekend with my son, and I left that movie feeling so inspired and so encouraged by the story. So if y'all haven't seen it yet, y'all watch piece by piece, okay? But before I get into my thoughts around that, I have been with this 30-day challenge that I'm doing. So if you weren't here before, I was talking about a 30-day live stream challenge that I'm doing for myself for the month of November. I'm gonna be streaming on TikTok and I'm gonna be streaming on YouTube. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Okay. So I'm going live every day. And with that, I decided that I wanted to give myself a structure for the show. So if y'all are familiar with podcasts, you know that podcasts typically have segments. And segments are important because it gives the listeners a break, like it gives them a clear break in what's happening for each part of the show. And if you don't have segments in your podcast, it can kind of just run long and it doesn't give people markers. So I can't necessarily go into the psychology of it right now because I feel like I would be using too many words to describe it. But that's the whole point of the segments, is that it gives you like breaks and then it shifts to a new topic. So I decided that I was going to give myself some topics. So the first topic, I actually skipped it because I don't know if I want to do it this way, but I was thinking about it being something around like mindfulness, something around just like being present and in the moment. And I might do that some days, but I don't want to do that every day. So I also decided that that could also be the section where I do the uttadas. Okay. If y'all don't know what the uttadas are, the uttadas is the OOTD, or the outfit of the day, and that's something that I've been doing for a long time on TikTok. And I started doing it more on Instagram. And so I feel like it would be cool to show, to do my Uttada, or at least focus on like my jewelry or my makeup or something like that. So I'll give like a little breakdown of that. So yeah, that's another thing that I want to do. Breathing breaks, breath breaks. I think that maybe I think the reason why I was second guessing it is because it would be the way that you start. It would be the way that I started, and I don't think I want to start it that way. But I could do like a break or a breather in between. So when I do switch the segments, I can do that. So I'm gonna play around with the segments, but that's the first one. So mindfulness, Uttada, that's the first one. The second one, the second segment is called the Creator Confessions. And I'm calling it the Creator Confessions because there are things that I be thinking that I know other people are thinking too. And so I feel like if I'm the first person who's willing to say it, then other people would feel comfortable admitting it too. So if I got to be the one to, take the lead on that, then I'm willing to do that because there are so many like unsaid, unspoken things when it comes to being a creator, being an entrepreneur. And while that may not always be the entire topic of the show or the video, I do feel like I be needing to get stuff off my chest. So that's what the Creator Confessions is going to be. But as it goes along, if there's something that you want to share, like if you want to send in something to me, if you want to DM me something that you want to get off your chest, then that's this segment, the Creator Confession segment, could be opened up to other people as well. So it doesn't have to just be my confessions. It can be other people, and maybe you don't want to be the one to say it, but you do want to have it addressed, right? So I want to leave that open for that kind of conversation, but that's going to be the second segment. It's going to be Creator Confessions. And that's what I was just doing when I was talking about I should have more subscribers because I should. I should. All right. And then the last part, the middle, no, not the last part, the middle part will be like the story. So that's going to be the main content, the main topic. Everybody, literally everybody that has a podcast, they do something like this. Everybody's thing is called something different. I don't have a name for mine just yet. When I have a cool one, then I'll put that there instead. And if y'all have one, then let me know if you have a cool idea for what I can call my main segment. But that's what the main segment's going to be. And so our main segment today is going to be my recap of piece by piece. And then the very last part, which I'm also going to do in the beginning as well. So maybe the beginning can be that can be it could be a mix of those things. But the last part is going to be the plug. Okay? And so the plug is going to be where I advertise. Okay, guys. Okay. I I do a decent job of mentioning my products naturally when I'm talking, but I do want to have it be a space where it can just like you just know like what's happening, what's going on, how can I work with you, how can I connect with you, what are you selling, what are you working on, how can I book you, whatever that looks like at that period of time. That's going to be where that section. That's going to be what that section covers. So it's going to be called the plug, and that's going to be like an advertising space. Now, this is another one of those things where I feel like it could be opened up to people who want to have their ads. If you want me to do your ads. So if you have a product or a service or something that you want me to promote, then the plug will be where I drop your stuff in there. Or maybe even in the middle, but it's going to be ad space. All right. So it's a show, y'all. It's a show. It's a show. Yeah. Ad space. Ad space. Cause we need to promote things. Main segment should be unshy triumphs. Okay, okay. I gotta. Well, I'm gonna have to write that down later because I left my. Oh no, my pen's right here. Okay, I can put that down. Unshy triumphs. Look, sometimes, hmm, I'm wondering if sometimes it won't. Maybe it'll be depending on what the topic is about too. Cause no, actually, I think it could work. I think it could work either way. I like that, Palm. I like that. Unshy triumphs. Okay. So y'all, what number? Oh, I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I won't know till I get off because I'm still live on YouTube. Sorry, John. I was like, what are you talking about? This is my first day doing it. If y'all aren't on TikTok, John Moss asked me what number did I get to today because I said in my video, my promo video, that I'm gonna keep track of how many subscribers I get. So yeah. Yeah. I know you did. I know you did. I didn't think that through all the way, but it's fine. We'll work through the kinks later. What's important is I did the video. The following videos are gonna probably be more like a recap of what I talked about, but I hadn't recorded this one yet. 4K in 4 months. I'm with it. I'm with it. I know it's gonna grow. Even when I'm not consistently going live on YouTube, my views always go up each time I go live. So I enjoy like the compounding effect that happens over here. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's get into this movie. All right. So I watched Pharrell's movie piece by piece. If y'all didn't know, 636. Oh, yay. I think that means I got one subscriber. Look at that. We're at 636 today, y'all. I can't do sound effects on YouTube. One day though. One day. I'm just gonna clap in the mic for now. So I watched Pharrell's movie piece by piece. Me and my son, we went to watch it. And I knew that it was a Lego movie, right? And I knew it was about Pharrell. But what I didn't know is that it's literally like a documentary, but with Legos. I thought that it was going to be more like, um I thought it was gonna be more like a biopic and not literally like a documentary. So, and it was interesting, but that's just like my disclaimer because I think with Lego movies, in my head, I'm thinking that it's more scripted. And this one, there are some scripted moments because they had to do that in order to create the Lego depiction of it, but it's not a biopic. Like, it's literally like him being interviewed in a regular documentary, but instead it's Legos. And then like the stories that he tells are depicted as Legos. So hopefully like that description makes sense to you. So you know what to expect when you go and watch it. But I was when we got there, we first started watching the movie. Like from the beginning of the movie, I felt so excited by it because there were all of these different colors and the way that they showcase the music, like the beats that Pharrell made, they would have it the beats were like in Lego pieces. Like it was so cool. It's like there would be these big Legos and so each part that he added on to the Lego was like a different sound. So like let's say that the biggest block was like the drums and then a snare was another piece and then the music like the melody was another. So it was the way that they depicted certain things was really cool. And so one of my favorite elements was when they showed how he put the beats together using Lego pieces. And so him when he was growing up, without telling y'all too much of the movie, when he was growing up, like he was not one of those kids who really fit in, and looking at him now, it makes sense. But I guess because I've always seen Pharrell as this really cool person. Like he's just really cool to me. Like he gives off the impression that he's just the person who just does his own thing and like lives his life the way he wants to live it. But I didn't really think about what that looked like as a child and being in a place where like he grew up in the projects and you if you are somebody who grew up in the projects, but you don't necessarily present yourself as somebody like that, you know what I'm saying? Try to say it without saying it. All right. It can be it can you can feel like a part of you, you know that you're supposed to be there or like you fit in to a certain degree. You belong there, but you don't at the same time. Like your interests are a little bit different than the people around you. And he was describing how when he listens to music, it doesn't he sees the music as colors. And so when they were depicting it with the Legos, it was like you could see like all the vibrant like blues and greens and reds and yellows and how they all kind of like form together to make this image. Like you could see the music. Like he could see it, he could feel it. And one of the people that he referenced at that time that he really started to develop this love for music was Stevie Wonder. And so I loved I loved being able to like see that and relate to it to a certain extent. Now, when I listen to music, I don't see colors. Is that what it's called? I don't know if I can pronounce that. Synthesia? Maybe. He didn't give it a name. He just described it. If that's what it's called, then yeah, I don't see music in colors. I when I listen to music, I can feel it, but I see like music videos. So my stuff is not colors, I see the story, I guess. So, but either way, I think that the point that I could relate to the most is being able to like feel the music and it have like a different effect than just listening to it and liking it for the most part. And so he realized that he had this love for music, but he didn't have professional, you know, training. He wasn't in band until he got like to middle school. So he grew up feeling very different from everybody else. And that's something that I could relate to so much. Like I was the kid, I'm still and an adult. I still do this now where I just go somewhere else for a little bit. Like, I'm a really big daydreamer. I'm a big dreamer in general, and I mean that in the most literal sense possible. When I go to sleep, it's rare for me not to have a dream when I go to sleep, and for the most part, I can remember my dreams unless I had a really hard time sleeping. But if for most part, I can remember a lot about my dreams. And so, but even during the daytime, like I'm dreaming about different things, different situations, different stuff that I want to see with my business. Sometimes I dream about other people's businesses, other things that I see. Like, I'm always just like visualizing something else. And so when I was growing up, I did not I did not feel like I could fully fit in anywhere. I never felt like I belonged in any particular place. Yeah. Actually, if you I don't know if you can see it on your end, but the account that I created my YouTube channel on, I called it J Dreams, like a play on daydreams. I called it J Dreams. I never did anything with that, but even at that time, I knew, like, I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer. I'm always thinking about just like what stuff could look like, what it could be. And I felt that I was wise for my age. And that's something that I would also be told all the time. Like, you're so wise for your age, you're so mature. I'm in this weird place where I don't look my age, but I act older than my age. So it's very weird. Like, I feel like a person who I can relate to is Marseille Martin from Blackish, and how she doesn't look old. Like, she looks young. She's in her 20s and she doesn't look like she's in her 20s yet. But the way that she moves and the way that she speaks with so much wisdom. So she's like this weird blend. And that's how I felt growing up. Like, I didn't always care about the stuff that everybody else cared about. When things were going on in school, especially like if there was like fights in school, I used to hate fights. When everybody would like get excited and run to see where the fight was, I was always going in the opposite direction because I was so annoyed by them. It didn't, I just wasn't interested in the same stuff. And so I would often be just in my own world, just in my own space. But I've always been a very creative person. So that was my outlet. Like, that was really how I expressed myself with my style, with the things that I made. Like, craft wise, I'd express myself in different mediums. So yeah, Marseille does get she old head. Okay. She has been here before. She's so mature. But that's how I felt growing up. And so he goes through his journey, his career. He I didn't realize how early on in his life he started out in the music industry, because he started out I can't think of who he was with right now. That doesn't matter. He started out when he was a teenager, like 17, I think. And from 17 throughout the rest of his life till now, he's been in the music industry in one way or the other. But when he first got started, and he got his first contract, he didn't even get to make an album. Like, they never had an album that made it out when they were under contract. And so he started to turn more to being a producer instead of being an artist, even though his initial interest was in being an artist. It wasn't in being a producer. And I'm saying this part for a reason because it's going to be relevant later. And so he had to pivot a little bit in order to really get ahead in the industry. And so he leaned more into being a producer than being an artist, right? And that was where he got his first big break. That's where all the rappers started to want to work with him. And then from rappers, just people in general started to want to work with him, like Gwen Stefani. Yeah. And even like the Neptunes era, they that didn't start that it was like they did it. That's how they got their start. Then they got the deal. Then they started doing being producer, and that was Neptunes. Then they started making their own music after that. Like the timeline, I realized I had no idea. I didn't know anything about like his start as a artist, as a musician. And so he pivoted and went into more of the producing, but always felt like he wanted to do more. He always wanted to be an artist, but the thing that held him back from being an artist is that he didn't believe in his voice. Y'all, isn't that wild? Like, especially after this was after he had all these hit records with other musicians, with other artists. He was one of the hottest producers. Like everybody wanted a piece of him. Everybody wanted to work with him. He was at the height of his career and still was feeling like a fraud. And that's the part where I was like, it can really happen at any point in your career. You would think that by the time you have certain successes and you've reached certain pinnacles in your life, that you no longer feel that way. At least that's what it looks like from the outside, right? But this was literally like the reason why he did fronting and then didn't do nothing after that for years. Part of that was because he felt like a fluke, like, he felt like he could do that one time, but he couldn't replicate it, and that was why he never pursued being a solo artist after fronting. I was like, "What? You know how much I can listen to fronting right now, and it feel like it just came out." Like, that part to me really blew my mind, and so when that happened, he had this chunk of time in his career where things were just going like completely downhill. Like his beats weren't as good. He started getting caught up in the money and being able to like replicate what he did. And so now he was no longer being the futuristic, weird, different person that he became known for. Like that's what made him unique, was that he was forward thinking. Like he was unconventional. But then once he started being more concerned with how much he was making and pleasing the label, pleasing other people, that was when his music started to really fall off. And I was watching it and I was like, man, that is it wasn't it honestly was probably the most encouraging part of the movie to me, because it let me know that, like you said, Latara, like we are human. We are human. And I think that like we hold off on being proud of ourselves. We hold off on appreciating how gifted we are, how talented we are, how much we're capable of, because we're almost like it's like we see it, but we don't believe it. We're literally watching ourselves accomplish things. We're seeing ourselves figuring out certain things. We're seeing ourselves reach these different levels and these goals, but then we're also still telling ourselves that we're not worthy, or we're this is still a fluke, or I can't keep going, or this is the best that I got. This is all that I can do. And it can happen literally at any point in your career, in your life. Like all of the success that you feel like you need to have before you feel confident in yourself, it's a facade. Because you can have it all and still feel like a fraud. So seeing that part, I was like, man, I can relate to that so much, so much. And especially the part of being afraid that this is the best that I can do. This is the best that I got. And so it as the documentary continued, he didn't really start to like he did his career really didn't start to pick up again until he did Happy. So he was brought on to do the soundtrack for Despicable Me, and he did Happy for Despicable Me. And of course he like produced, like I think he produced the entire soundtrack. But that was the song where he was the artist on it. And he saw not only how well received Happy was, but how it became something bigger than him. It became something that it came out at the time where people really needed it, and it just took off like around the world. And I know like y'all remember, right, where everybody had like their own version of Happy. People were doing it in different countries, and they were doing their own like dance routines to it. Like it took on a life of its own. And when he was describing how important that was, it was validating because it really showed him how impactful what he does could be. Like that it really is like what he does is bigger than him. It's bigger than what he could have even imagined. And that was gratifying because it gave his work meaning. And so I remember that being one of the biggest things that he said that he felt like was missing when he went through that period where his stuff was falling off, like where he was just like kind of falling off, is that it had felt like all everything that he was doing no longer had meaning to it. It didn't feel like it was impactful. It didn't feel like he was like it was doing what um it didn't feel like it was doing what he really wanted it to do. It didn't feel purposeful. And so when I was writing down my notes, because I wanted to make sure I didn't forget the topics, like the points that I was really inspired by. And so when I was writing it down, I wrote it down as um okay. I thought that it was more I thought that I put better words in this, but we just gonna go with what I wrote down and then we'll leave it at that. But I put down that it was a combination of being different and being weird, which are really like they're pretty much the same thing. But I think that I put them separately because you can be doing something different, but there's a certain personality that you think of when you think about somebody who's weird, who's quirky, who's really thinking outside the box. And so, and that maybe that could be replaced with being creative and also being purposeful. And what you're doing, what you're creating, what you're making has a purpose. And so you're not just being different for the sake of being different. You're being different with purpose. You're being different because the way that you're thinking, the way that this idea is coming together, you have to be able to implement it in the way that you're thinking it for it to happen, for it to make sense, for it to be what it needs to be. And I feel that even with him deciding to do his documentary as a Lego movie, for most people, they're like, why? Like, why would you do that? Why does that even make sense? But if you look at his career and his body of work, that's literally what makes him unique, is that he was doing things that were different. He was a little bit weird. He was that kid that just was a little offbeat. Like they weren't like everybody else. He wasn't like everybody else. And so, and that was what made him so valuable because it gave a different perspective. And one thing that I didn't write down that did stick out to me um is the fact that not only was he a creative person, but the way that he was allowed people to show a different side of themselves. So, like when you think about somebody like Jay-Z, or you think about somebody like Snoop Dogg, right? And you think about what type of music they typically make versus the type of music that they made with Pharrell, it allowed them to showcase a different side of themselves. It allowed them to be a little bit more creative. It allowed them to be different. It allowed them to be weird. It allowed them to show people that I'm multifaceted. I'm not just this one person. I'm not just this one way. It allowed people to see something different from these people who have built their careers pretty much doing one thing, right? And so and then even just how that music that they made appeals to different people, because I don't typically listen to Snoop. Okay. Ain't nothing against him. I just don't, I'm just not riding around listening to Snoop. But I will listen to Snoop. Even right now, I want to listen to the song now. Like, I can listen to that. When that song came out, I was like, what? Do, do, do. Like that. I love that. I love that. I became a fan. I don't know what else Snoop was talking about in his other album, but I do know that song. Okay. I do know that. And so, or what was the other one? Beautiful. I just want you to know you're my favorite girl. Like that song, y'all. I remember, I remember, well, I would think I was like in third grade when that song came out. And maybe it wasn't the first time that I listened to it, but I remember a time that I did listen to it. And it was like in the parking lot after a basketball game. And so, like that, those were my songs. They made up my childhood. Thank you, Ashane. So, like, that's the kind of stuff, like, he was able to bring out something different in people. And so that to me is the sign of someone who's really like it making others feel bold by being themselves. And so I love that. And I love that that's what, as creative people, we're able to do. We're able to bring people's visions to life. We're able to have people feel seen with what we create, with our artwork, with our games, with our content. We're able to have people feel like their perspective is being given, is being shown. And another example of that, going to more recent years of Pharrell's career, is that he didn't write, he produced All Right by Kendrick Lamar, which I did not know. I did not know that. I when you hear the "we gonna be all right, we gonna be all right," that part, that's Pharrell. And I did not know that. Did y'all know that? I had no idea that that was Pharrell. So that's him. So he produced the song, and that's another example of creating music that is purposeful, definitely, but it also gave people something that lets them know, I see you. I see you. I understand what you're going through, and we're going to be all right. Like, it really makes people feel like their perspective is being considered. And so just knowing that that's what we're capable of doing with what we do, with what we create, that to me is so encouraging. So that's what, yeah, that's what I got from watching the movie. And obviously, there's a whole bunch of other things that I could say about it, but I don't want to give away the whole movie for y'all. You really should watch the movie, okay? Yeah, he does scholarships. He does down something in the water. Is that what it's called? Something in the water. I think that's the name of it. That's the festival, the music festival that he does, and that showcases like up and coming artists. And he does that down in Virginia Beach. I feel like last year or one of these years, he moved it from Virginia Beach to DC because he was protesting the police down that way. So he wasn't happy with where what things were going on down in Virginia Beach, which is where he's from. So he moved the festival from there to DC as a way of like protesting. But yeah, like he does so much for young creators. So I just love how he went through this phase, this journey as a creative where he realized that there was something different about him. Then he had someone who encouraged him to pursue it and helped him to see what his gift was. That was his grandma. Then he pursued that thing and did whatever he could to make it happen, including pivoting from being the musician, being the artist, to being the producer, because that got him in the door. That allowed him to do what he loved to do. Then he did that, started doing the solo music, and then he had his downfall where he started feeling like, I can't do this again. I've done the best that I can. This is the peak of my life. And he had his downhill moment, and then he came right back up with Happy, and with All Right, with Something in the Water, with his scholarships, his foundations, and the way that he collaborates with young artists, and all the other things that he's doing, the amazing things. Oh, it did, Kayla? Okay. Yeah. She was saying the second year was in DC. So yeah, I love watching it. And especially if you are that person who didn't feel like you necessarily made sense anywhere, all the way. Like you could connect here, and you got people here, but you really always felt like you were kind of in a space of your own. That to me is who that movie spoke to. And so it's so worth the watch. And the only thing that I'll say is that I do wish that it was marketed better, because even when we went to the when we went to see the movie, I went to see it with my son, and he looked around and he was like, "Mommy, is this is this a new movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, it just came out a few weeks ago." It was like, "Well, why isn't there a bunch of people here? Like, why isn't the theater filled?" And I was like, I don't know, son. I don't know. But the movie was not given the marketing. It was not given the attention, and it wasn't given the marketing that it deserved. I know that he had some stuff with Legos. So yeah, like Pharrell literally has some Legos I saw them at Target. So that part, I think you know what I think happened? I think that I think that they didn't understand who their target demographic was for this movie. Okay? All right. So creating the Legos, but not catering to the audience that's going to really enjoy the movie. I think that that's where they missed the mark. Like, it would make sense if it was a Lego movie that was really geared towards kids. So my son, he did like the movie, y'all, but he loved the beginning of the movie more when he was a kid, as opposed to the full story. And so the movie itself starts at his childhood, and then it goes to present day. And so once it started getting to him being an adult and trying to break into the music industry and all of that, that's where they started showing or playing the music that he produced. And so I think that if they would have marketed more towards adults, like towards us, the people, where it would bring a sense of nostalgia, where it would bring a sense of like just like connecting to this artist who has been around for many of us, like for most of our life or all of our life, who we are familiar with, but not to this extent. I think that it was marketed towards kids, but it's not really a kids movie. Like, it's a movie that you could watch with your children, but it's not really a kids movie. It's just an adult movie with Legos. So that's what I would say. And so I think that it they I don't think either they didn't understand who they were marketing it to, or because it wasn't like a Lego movie necessarily, that maybe it just didn't have the same budget. I don't know what happened back there. I just know that the fact that I really didn't know much about it, like, and when I asked people about it, they're like, "Oh, I feel like I heard something like that, or I heard something about it." That to me tells me that it wasn't marketed the right way. And so a lot of people just didn't know about it. So it's only a couple of weeks old. I think literally it's like 2 weeks old. I think it came out, I think it premiered like 2 weeks ago. And it looked like this is the time where people should still be talking about it. So I don't feel like the marketing was there for it. But yeah, y'all, that was piece by piece. Y'all make sure y'all go and watch that movie. I think that by now, I think it's like on demand. So if you don't want to go to the theater to see it, you can download it and watch it with your cable provider, or I don't know if it's on a streaming service just yet. I had to look and see. But check out the movie, okay? And now we're going to go into our last segment. I'm trying to look because my son's going to be home from school soon. So tomorrow I'm going to have to get on way earlier. Way earlier. But here is my plug for today. Okay. So I just launched the Get an Unshy Collective. We had our first meeting this week. Thank you, Mask. We had our first meeting this week, and I just felt this renewed excitement. Like it felt like like a refresh or a restart. Like I can't explain the sensation that I got all the way, but like that's the best way I can describe it. Like it just felt like this is our chance to approach this with a fresh perspective, with new excitement. And the Getting a Shot Collective is for people who are growing their brand. It's best for people who are either starting their business, like they've already started a business and they're in the early stages, or for people who are looking to start again. Like maybe you had a business and things didn't work out, but now you're trying to grow it again, build that up, get things going and moving because you got some things to accomplish. Then that's who the collective is for. And so it's a done with you type situation. We have bi-weekly calls, and we also have one-on-ones, and I'll give you specific strategies to help you to grow your brand. And there's a five-step framework I take people through. It's inside the Getting Unshy workbook, and it helps people to build their brand, to heal in the areas that are preventing you from showing up fully as who you're supposed to be, whether that's you needing to speak more, whether that's you needing to show your face more. Maybe you show your face, but you don't show your full body, and you need to show your full body because you're trying to get into fashion content or selling clothes, whatever it is. Okay, these are just examples off the top of my head, but it's for those people who know that they can do it, but you're not acting like you can do it. So I help you to grow in those areas so that you can build your brand, grow it, have confidence in who you are and what you can offer people, and show up that way. So that's where we're just getting started with that. This is our first week. If you do want to join the collective, you can still join. You won't be too far behind, but we are moving at a really accelerated pace. So if you know that you want to get in there and you want to build your brand and you want to get started before the new year, then that's my first plug. But the other thing that I'm working on is brand management. Okay. And so I'll have more details on what that looks like because I did not write them down. I did not write them down, but I'm going to be working with people who have already established brands, and you're looking to expand your brand. You're looking to elevate it. You're looking to refine it. Maybe some things need to be tweaked because you've started getting more clients, started selling more products. And now you're looking into, how can I grow this? How can I make this bigger? How can I have more money coming in? What other avenues can I explore in terms of revenue? That's what I want to help people to do on a one-on-one level. And so that's something that I'm going to be starting the beginning of 2025. So if you sign on with me within this month, I'll post a promo for it. I promise I'll have more details for all of that tomorrow. But I'm going to have a special deal for the people who sign up for it now to get started for 2025 with your brand extension, brand management. So if you need somebody to help you with those things, then that's what I'm going to be doing for private clients. So those are the two things that I got to plug today. And I think that I covered everything. So if y'all have something that you want me to talk about or promote, DM me because I don't have a form created for that yet, but I'll be willing to do that. We could talk about what that will look like. And if you have a creator confession that you want me to talk about, you want me to put it out there and see what I have to say about it, maybe I can offer some advice, some feedback, maybe I could just tell you, I get it, you're not alone, then DM me that as well. You can DM me on TikTok, or you can email me. My email is going to be inside of the description box. So you can reach out to me and send me your creator confessions there. And then when you do send them, by default, I will make them anonymous. So you don't have to worry about me putting your business out there. But if you are listening to it and you want people to know that it was you for whatever reason, then you can put that in the note as well. But I'm gonna be doing this all month, every day. Some days might be a little bit shorter than today, but that's the commitment. So for the next 30 days, we're going to see, let's see if I can get to this goal of 1,000 subscribers. I feel like I can do it. I feel like I can do it. I'm going to leave it at that. And we're just going to keep on moving and follow the plan and see what happens. But I appreciate y'all. I feel like my son's bus is going to be here very soon. So I think I'm making good time. But I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And if you're watching this as a replay, let me know what you think about it. Give me your feedback. I'm loving the interactions I'm getting so far. So I'm looking forward to hearing how y'all feel about it. And I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Okay. Bye.